Good morning to all of you. This is the fifth episode of Migrants Journey, initiative which is out there to document migrant stories. Migration to Australia or migration to any country for that matter is looked up as a dream, and people think that it's all good and it's all fun, but it's mostly not like that. It's a huge struggle, be it an international student or a migrant with years and years and years of experience. It's a struggle to get a job here and to adapt to the culture. So we have done 4 episodes so far, and the response has been really, really good. Again, to spread the word, I need your help. So if you're watching this live or if you're watching this on replay, say hi, good morning. The more noise you make, the more people it reaches to, and the more people hear the story. So good morning on LinkedIn, or if it's YouTube, please leave a comment. Subscribe to my channel if you want to watch the whole playlist. This is episode 5. As I said, I'm booked out for the next 2 weeks. We have a lot of episodes coming. So today's story is a bit different. So last 4 days, I shared stories of people who have already found their job out here. But today, I'm interviewing Gowtham Pichuka, who is doing his MBA right now, and he's doing all the right things in terms of job search. He hasn't found one yet, but he claims he's close to one. Let's hear about that. So let's hear it straight from Gowtham. Gowtham, good morning.
Good morning, Vinish.
How are you today?
I'm doing good. Thanks
So
for waking me up early.
well, I'm trying myself to make sure that I wake up early, and that's why I booked a slot. 8:30 a.m. every day. I have to wake up, no running away. Uh,
Awesome.
Thanks for joining in. So, yeah, let's get straight into it. Who are you? What do you do? I mean, what's happening right now?
Yep. I came to Melbourne 1.5 year back
Mhm.
from India. I was working with Unilever for close to 7 years. I'm not that IT guy, so yeah, So if a disclaimer is that I wouldn't because a lot of people I meet in your meetups or I come across, most of my network are only IT people, and I kind of feel left alone. Yeah, so I've worked in manufacturing. I started my career making coffee and detergents,
Hmm.
and then I went on to do a bit of safety and health, and then a bit of sustainability, and then operations excellence. So that's been my journey, and here I'm doing my MBA. It happened a bit of an accident that I'm in Melbourne, but with right now with everything happening around, I think I'm in one of the safest place, and I'm really happy now.
Absolutely.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting how things turned out. And I get your feeling. Whenever I get a non-IT person
Mm,
in my meetups, it's like
mm,
it's hard to have a technical conversation with them. But I
yes.
think conversations happen. I mean, there's nothing missing in the conversation, just that
Yes.
the technical aspects of it is not there.
Right. Right.
So let's start from the beginning. You already mentioned you are here by chance.
Yeah.
Before migrating, if any
Mm,
preparations, if you did at all, or after migrating, how was the first 2 weeks or first few months?
yeah.
What was it like over here?
So initially, Australian business schools were not in my target list, but I had them like my last preference. In case nothing works out, I'll look at it, and I had applied for a couple of one. I got a good offer from Spain, which was one of the top 10 B schools, but then it was costing me a bomb. So and then I was lucky to get a scholarship here as well. So I made my way to Australia at last, and I kind of was wanting to do MBA from a long time. I thought at least I should do it now, or else I would become too old.
True. Yeah.
Yeah. So and yeah, when I initially came, I just knew one friend here, and then just no one else.
Mhm.
But then I did my homework. Through LinkedIn, I reached out to a lot of my seniors. I knew at least 5 or 6 of them, which is huge because my class strength is only 50, and
Mhm.
they all gave a very good feedback on the course, and they were enjoying it. So I didn't have much regrets, and it was what I expected. Yeah, so I mean, I started using LinkedIn back then itself. So it was really helpful.
Yeah.
And in the initial days, what I used to do is I used to take the Mikey and just randomly travel, to get a feel of the city,
Yeah.
because I didn't knew anyone, or that was the thing I was going. I was making. I mean, it was, public transport was really good, and you had all the signboards and maps were there. It was easy. It was a no brainer to explore that. Yeah, so like Mumbai local, I mean, except for the crowd, it was as easy as it is, and I got to get a feel of place. And then one thing that kind of I was disappointed was, when I was trying to recharge my phone, I used the debit card option, and it took me 3 days to recharge, and I was
Oh,
like,
really?
where? Yeah, I mean, like, where am I in?
Okay.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Interesting story over there. So, you said that MBA was kind of what you expected, but I think
Mm,
specifically with international students, there is a mismatch of expectations when it comes to
mhm.
studies and what the ground reality is. I think you were prepared, but what are
Yes.
some expectations that you see out there, which is kind of misleading?
Mm, yeah, I think people don't do their research. I think the best thing to do is to talk to seniors.
Yeah.
I think, and the other thing is, we coming from a developing country, we think that it's all going to be great. It's you just see all the probably the Facebook pictures your friends post, but it's a lot different,
Mm,
and the way colleges operate are very different. And one thing I find particularly advantageous here is, at least the kind of the group 8 colleges offer the similar kind of resources. The
mm,
faculty might be different, but the resources they provide, the library facilities are kind of same, and it doesn't really matter to which university you go if you're doing the right things.
mhm,
And in my particular case, having worked for close to 7 years, I was not really ready to sit and write an exam. So and my course is very experiential. It has a lot of projects but no exams, so I did that research before coming in. So talk to seniors is the only way to set your expectations right.
Yeah, that's really good insights. I think people um, think, once they come here, they'll figure things out. But it's always good to be prepared and to
Yes.
set your expectations straight. I mean, I'm repeating, it's you think it's easy, it's usually not easy. I mean, that's the reason I'm doing these sessions now.
Yes.
Coming to
One
the, yeah.
other point I would like to add, because I see a lot of people just wanting to come here and not explore the PR options if they want to really stay back, and then they just come here, be here for two years, and then they are in a situation to go back.
Hmm.
Right? If that's what you want, that's fine. But do that research as well, and know your options. In the long term.
Yeah, yeah, absolutely. Now, um, coming to the job search side of things,
Mm,
did you start it from day one, or did you? What's your strategy on that? How did you
mm,
start? Not the strategy right now. How did you
okay.
start, and what
Mhm.
were the possible mistakes that you were doing right then?
Yes. So when I reached in February, in the month of March, there was this my university's industry expo, where there were close to 90 companies that were there. So I and one of my classmates, we just thought, let's go and explore what's happening there, and that was a big eye opener for me. What happened was, I spoke to almost everyone. To the every company that was there, and
Hmm.
I could hardly find one or two companies that were ready to offer internships for international students.
Hmm.
And
Interesting.
I was like, I was really disappointed. I mean, having come all the way, and you are like, you have no options. uh, and that was kind of a wake up call. I mean, the people I spoke to were, I didn't ask the right questions. I just asked, is it all good? I hope people are getting jobs. They said yes. The course is good, but I didn't probably ask the right questions, or people didn't tell me about this. So
Hmm.
that was like, big moment for me. But one thing that happened on that day was, there was this one of the Australia's largest logistics company was there, and I went to the counter, and one of the HR guys, he looked at me and said, I think we are on friends on Facebook,
Oh,
and
really?
sorry, on LinkedIn, and he's then I realized, yes, I mean, I knew this guy. I had added him on LinkedIn, and it was all because I had a way. My photo looks like who I am, and then
That
that
rarely happens, but well done.
yes, and he recognized me just because I had the same photo. I
Yep.
mean, and that was on LinkedIn. And fortunately, he was a guy from Indian origin, and we had a good chat and stuff. So then it kind of opened me. Okay, LinkedIn is probably the way,
Yeah.
and yeah, I started investing time on that.
That was a good eye-opening session. I
Yeah.
mean, it clearly explains the importance of LinkedIn that can
Yes.
have in real life. So, what happened next? I mean, what changed? Or this was a beginning, so it didn't change.
Yes.
So, but what? How did you approach jobs after that?
The next thing happened was, okay, I was settling up and I wasn't really looking for much. And but for my first semester break, I was pretty determined to find some kind of an internship or job.
Hmm.
And then luckily on LinkedIn there was an opening for an internship, and I applied. And without any networking, probably it could be one of a story, I got a call.
Brilliant, excellent.
Yeah, and all that happened, I think, is because of the cover letter.
Hmm.
um I hope most of you would have given this PTE exam. So the
Yep.
internship was with that company. So what happened was, I had written that I had given probably GRE before, and mm, G- that exam is also conducted by the company who conducts PTE.
Hmm.
So I had written that, I have, experience your testing centers. It was a great experience. It was a flawless experience and stuff. And when I joined the internship, and one of the recruiters said that, somebody had written that, and they were happy that they mentioned about the company, then I understood, oh, somebody really needs cover letter.
Yeah, yeah.
So from then on, whenever I write a cover letter, I either mention something about the company,
Mm.
read the values and stuff. I say I also share the same values. Or if I know someone, I would mention that. Or if I had watched a webinar or something, the CEOs mentioned something, I would quote that.
Yeah,
That makes the cover letter really personalized.
yeah.
And that was a big eye opener. I was like using the same cover letter for everything. But you know with this internship, I was quite determined that I want to make an impression.
Yeah.
So I spent time to craft that whole cover letter. But I mean, after I went back and read that cover letter, I didn't write it really good. There were a couple of grammatical errors which I didn't realize then, but then the story made
Yeah,
sense.
I think that having that personal touch
Yeah.
is the most critical bit. Most people just copy a template and just tweak a few words here and there, which is
Yes.
easy to identify. Uh, don't be mistaken. Recruiters and hiring managers read hundreds and hundreds of resumes and cover letters. If you copy it from anywhere in the internet, it's easy to figure out. It's not hard at all. So if you type it, even if there are a few mistakes, like Gautam mentioned, it has a person. Avoid mistakes. I'm not saying
Yeah.
make mistakes intentionally,
Yeah.
but it gives a personalized touch over there.
Yeah.
That's a very interesting story to share, Gautam.
Yeah.
You got into internship. I think you did well over there.
Yeah.
Then what happened next?
Yeah, that the internship got over, but I'm still in touch with them. And I with my mentor, I got another couple of contacts. But
Hmm.
you know, it's just a genuine relationship.
Yep.
I know that one thing for sure. I know that if there is a vacancy, I can give him a call and say
Excellent.
I'd like to apply.
Yeah.
But I never asked him for a job.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something we need to be conscious of. You shouldn't be that creepy guy.
Yeah, absolutely. And I
Yeah.
think again, another expectation to be set here is just because you do an internship, you're not obliged to get a job over there.
Yes.
The idea is to build the relationships that you just mentioned. Just like Gautam said, if there is an opening there in that company, he can approach that person. That's the idea between in any networking event, internship, or anything of that sort. That should be always your mindset. Excellent point shared over there. By the way, I think because it's a Friday morning, we don't have many viewers, or the viewers, either the viewers watching us are probably not very active. So if you're watching it and if you're not sleeping, hi, good morning. Or even if it's on YouTube, please share a comment and make this more engaging. Uh, okay, so um, coming to more serious stuff. Now you're actively looking for a job.
Yeah.
What have you learned in the past 1 year? I mean, what changes have you done in your strategy?
Okay, so the way I now approach is like, let's say you're running a startup and you want to launch a new product.
Hmm.
What kind of a market research you would do? I think you should do the same thing.
Yeah.
For example, I've worked all my experience is in FMCG industry. So what I
Hmm.
do is I have couple of Excel sheets where I've listed down every FMCG company in Australia.
Mm.
Probably it would be around 50 companies, and
Mm.
I've categorized them into, let's say, personal care, home care, or chocolates, liquor, all those stuff. And I've seen them. One strategy is that find out the number of employees in each company. So more number of employees, more the attrition rate, and more the number of job postings.
Mm.
Right. So
Interesting.
tho- those are my target companies now. And the other thing I make sure I do is, because I don't have a PR, I want to make sure that the companies I approach are open to hire internationals,
Hmm.
right? So yeah, again, use LinkedIn and see, the kind of diversity they have within their companies. Are they multinational companies? So they would be more open to have people like me with experience from a different market, right?
Mm.
So those are my target companies. And then what I do is this is a good strategy. Which I've figured out is, because we come from a different country, what happens is the roles might be the same. I mean, the job description may sound a bit different because the words they use might be different.
Yeah.
But end of the day, the actual job would be the same thing, and you
Hmm.
would have done the same stuff, but it's worded differently.
Mm.
So when you start networking with people at your same level,
Mm.
and then understand their language.
Yeah.
Try to mimic them, or use the same words that's used in your industry.
Mm.
Once you do that, you're in a better position to have a conversation with the people in the next level who are in a position to make the hiring decision,
Yeah.
right? So you should be networking with those guys who can make a decision. But before you go to them, you need to be in a position to talk to them their language.
Yeah.
So you
Absolutely.
start off with your peer group, networking with your peer group, and then go to the next level.
Mm. I absolutely love that strategy, and it's very important. I mean, that's another mistake that most migrants and international students there. I mean, you use the language that you used in your country in your resume, LinkedIn, or while speaking, and that's sometimes very hard to understand by the local community over here. For
Yeah.
example, I remember when I was interviewing, I used the word redundant
Hmm.
as a term. I kept doing this, and it kind
Hmm.
of got redundant for me. But here in Australia, redundant means you're being laid off, right?
Yeah.
So they were like,
Hmm.
redundant? Were you made redundant? I like, no, no, I didn't mean that, right? So
Yeah.
you have to make sure that you speak the same language as
Yeah.
people over here. Otherwise, there will be a disconnect. And I don't know whose quote is this, but I absolutely love it. I mean, the biggest assumption is that the company communication has been done. I mean, you
Yes.
say something,
Yeah.
it's not necessary that the same thing goes across to the other person. So it's very
Exactly.
important that you do your homework on that.
Yeah.
Now, Gautam, have you had any bad experiences through this job search? Something that you did not expect, but was kind of a norm here in Australia, just that you didn't expect.
Okay. One thing that kind of disappoints me is that, even with me, when I try to approach people or give my interviews, they expect you to join probably a level or two below.
Hmm.
You might have spent all your energy. We know how it is, how hard it is back in our country to get a college admission, get a job, and climb up the ladder.
Yep.
And then you are here all of a sudden, trying to step down. I think while there's a lot of diversity and they're very inclusive compared to a lot of other countries. That's something disappoints me, that people expect you to start a step down,
Hmm.
which I'm not really happy about. I
Hmm.
would say.
Yeah.
And for this, I think the other thing is, we Indians grew up in a very humble and culture, and we try to play it low.
Mm. Yeah.
uh, uh, so we even personally with me sometimes, especially moving to a new culture, my confidence went down.
Yeah,
So you try to play it low, but you know we need to be confident, we need to pick up that, and make sure, ask what you want,
yeah,
right? That's
absolutely.
something I learned, that you need to be open to tell your opinion, be open to talk what you feel,
Mm.
and ask what you want.
Excellent. So I absolutely agree to that as well. I think we are not used to talking
Yes.
about ourselves,
Yep.
which is a top skill over here, and
Yes.
that's something that you have to be used to. And I absolutely agree with you as well. I if possible, I'd recommend to go to a level which you have experience in. Do
Yes.
not try to step down. I mean, that's key. I mean, just because people say, or just because, for example, Gautam said, most people are asking me to take one step down. Don't go with that attitude as a start. Always target the role that you
Yes.
want for. If things are not working down the lane, maybe think of what next,
Yes.
but don't
Yep.
don't take it as the first step. Now you've been here for a year and a half, I think.
Yep.
What would be your advice to migrants or international students out there?
First thing is, I would say, talk to as many people as you can, and be very open minded. And then the point I would say is, don't talk to Indians. Yeah, because you know coming from
Should I
everywhere.
cut this
I mean,
conversation?
I mean, it's good to hear stories, but you know, you tend to
Yeah.
even, let's say, even within our country, you tend to start networking only with people from your state,
Yes,
right?
absolutely.
But so you need to talk with that's when you learn. If you
Mm,
talk to different people only, then you learn, right? So that's the I think the greatest thing I would say. And I would say, be very strategic in your job search. It's not like you just apply online, and then you get, for example, you need to see how the market moves. For example, I would say, if you especially look at the big four consulting firms, whenever they put something like an expression of interest in certain sector, it means that there is some big project that's going to come up in that sector,
mm,
and the job openings would eventually open up in that sector. So
mm.
if you keep watching carefully, especially these big four consulting firms, you know the way they approach would be the direction for the next 5 years.
Excellent. That's very interesting insight. And I absolutely agree with you. Aussies are a joy to talk, actually, especially in
Yes, yes,
Melbourne. People are very friendly. Just go and have a conversation with them. Don't be afraid. Don't be scared. Most people will come and, if you're in an event, they will come and talk to you, but
yes,
you also have to take an initiative. And the problem with talking with people in your own community is your mind doesn't open up. Um, you don't pick accents. You don't understand. You don't learn different languages. You don't learn the culture when that happens. And sometimes you even get negative advice, as in even though the general advice out there is different, people from a community tend to have, an advice for their own, which is usually not right. It's based on some individual experiences, and
right.
that's not always the global truth out there. So it's very
Yeah.
important to diversify. Now,
Yeah.
I think,
Manish,
yeah,
I'd like to add just one more
go for it.
point.
Yeah, absolutely.
I would request, whoever coming to this new place, to read about the history of Australia,
Hmm,
about the Aboriginal communities who are
hmm,
the traditional owners of this land.
absolutely.
I mean, I've recently started, and I'm already hating myself why I didn't do it before.
Hmm.
Uh, I mean, it's a very sensitive topic, but I think it's important for each one of us, even Aussies, and anyone coming to this land should read about their history and what they went through in their past.
Do you have a recommendation of a book or a documentary that
I
you
would
recommend?
say documentary First Australians on YouTube.
Yeah. Okay,
Yeah.
excellent. Thanks. Now, I think you've been part of multiple of my meetups.
Yep.
So, what was your experience like? I mean, what did you see in people who were part of it? And you came to multiple events. So, how was your experience through those meetups and the conversations that you had?
Yeah, I think one thing that goes without saying is people who come to your meetups are already ready to learn.
Yeah, yeah,
Yeah,
absolutely.
so they are open, they're ready to learn, and but people who don't come out, you might have seen a lot of people. I would tag a lot of people on your posts.
Mm,
Those are kind of people who are still not coming out, still thinking that I would apply online, I would
yeah,
get a job. So so the people who come to your meetup are already active, and they're really curious, and they're good to learn. I mean,
mm,
they are ready to share what they know.
mm,
And it- and there are definitely some people who still are still stuck, and they think that just by attending your meetups they would get a job. But
absolutely.
the thing is, attending your meetups, getting the information from you or from others, they have to go back home and then start coming up with their own plan. And sometimes it's a trial and error. You learn only when you start doing it.
Yeah,
And
absolutely.
whatever I advise or you advise may not work for
Mm,
everyone or may not work for every sector.
mm,
Like, for example, if you're working if you're targeting to enter into a university, or you are a professor or trying to get a job in that in that education sector, they're very academic and they follow the process. You can't
mm.
network and get a job.
Yeah, absolutely.
So you need to understand that there is no perfect rule.
Hmm. Yeah.
There's
So
there's no playbook to do things.
yeah, absolutely. I mean, when people say, you do this or you pay me X dollars and you're guaranteed to get a job, I usually
Mm.
say run away from them. What
Yes.
people can do is give you advice. Even my meetups, for that matter, I always
Mm.
say that this is a beginning.
Yeah.
What happens next is up to you. So you have to
Yes.
walk the walk. No one will
Right.
pick you up and drop you in the destination. That doesn't
Yeah.
happen over here. So like, you have to still walk the walk, and
Yeah.
but you have to start somewhere.
Yeah.
Like Gautam said, if you still hope, things will happen. It may happen. It may happen one day, but it's more likely that it won't happen. Thank you so much for sharing your story, Gautam. Thank
Yeah.
you so much for getting up in the morning and having this conversation. It was absolute fun. We
Yes.
have quite a few views on LinkedIn, but I think because it's a Friday morning or whatever reason it is, the activity isn't much. But I'm sure people will watch the replay. There's tons
Yeah.
of information in this. Again, if you want to watch all the episodes, subscribe to my YouTube channel or even scroll down my LinkedIn feed and you can get all the episodes. I have another session coming up tomorrow. I mean, my plan was to have Monday to Friday, but a particular person said, they are not free on weekdays, so I'm doing it. I will come back tomorrow at 10 a.m., not 8:30 a.m.
Yeah.
But otherwise, thank you so much for being a part of this, Gautam, and I mean, you can leave. Of course, feel free to connect to Gautam if you need any help. I think he's very open to connections on LinkedIn. So how can
Yes.
people connect to you, Gautam?
Yeah. I mean, just pop up a LinkedIn invite.
Yeah,
That should be good.
yeah, absolutely.
Yeah.
So if you have any questions, leave a comment, be it on LinkedIn or YouTube. We'll get back to you, either me or Gautam. Tag
Yeah.
our name so that we get notified, and we'll
Yeah.
definitely get back to your questions.
Yeah.
So have a great weekend. Have a
Thanks, Vinesh.
good
Yeah.
morning. Have a good day. Thank you so much, and
Thank
I'll see
you.
you soon.
Yeah. Bye.